AI philosophy, enabling humans to establish destiny for themselves and establish a mind for AI. Karl Marx, the essence of man is the sum of all social relations. The economic base determines the superstructure. Marx stressed that philosophers have merely interpreted the world in various ways, yet the point is to change it. Marx truly transcended Hegel's ideology. Marx's thought resonates with the practical tradition of Chinese philosophy. Thinkers including Confucius, Mencius, and Wang Yangming all attached great importance to integrating theory with practice, namely the unity of knowledge and action. Click the plus sign to follow this account for more wonderful content. Karl Marx was a German philosopher, economist, sociologist, political theorist, and revolutionary. He was deeply influenced by Hegelian philosophy in his early years and joined the young Hegelians. Later, on the basis of critiquing Hegel's ideas, he established his own theoretical system of historical materialism. After Marx's death, his tombstone bears the famous inscription, "The philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it," which embodied the mission and the pursuit of his whole life. Marx's core philosophical ideas are as follows. Historical materialism. Marx held that the mode of material production serves as the decisive driving force of social development. The history of human society constitutes a natural historical process propelled by the contradictory movement between productive forces and the production relations, as well as between the economic base and the superstructure. Asterix's theory of surplus value. He laid down the interpretive principle of critique of political economy in Times Das Kapital asterisk. He argued that capitalists extract surplus value through exploiting workers' surplus labor, which forms the fundamental economic law of capitalism. Asterisk theory of class struggle. In 1848, Marx and Engels published Times the Communist Manifesto asterisk. Marx pointed out that class struggle is the motive force of social and historical development. The proletariat shall overthrow bourgeois rule through revolution, establish the dictatorship of the proletariat, and ultimately realize communist society. Asterisk scientific socialism. Founded jointly by Marx and Engels, the theory exerted a profound influence on political movements from the late 19th century to the 20th century, especially socialist and communist campaigns. Marx contended that man is the sum of all social relations rather than natural relations. Engels once commented that Darwin founded the theory of biological evolution, while Marx established the theory of human historical evolution. Marxist materialist dialectics maintains that the material world undergoes eternal movement, transformation, and development, with nature evolving from lower to higher forms and from simplicity to complexity. Human history has passed through primitive society, slave society, feudal society, and capitalist society. Some countries have entered the socialist society, which will eventually advance to communist society, a society that will keep evolving perpetually. Marx emphasized that philosophers ought not merely interpret the world, but strive to transform it. More than a philosopher, he was also a sociologist, historian, and economist. Contrary to Hegel's view that the absolute spirit propels history forward, Marx believed material transformations constitute the driving force of historical progress. Spirit cannot alter matter. Instead, changes in matter give rise to new spiritual relations. The core force pushing history forward is a society's economic base, mode of production, which determines the superstructure social ideologies, political institutions, religions, ideologies, art, science, and more. For instance, arranged marriages between young people prevailed in ancient agrarian societies chiefly because marriage entailed inheritance of property such as farmland and houses. By contrast, freedom of marriage prevails in modern society as young people achieve financial independence and no longer rely on parental assets. Another example lies in the slow pace of technological progress in antiquity. Production labor was undertaken by illiterate slaves, while literate citizens and nobles never engaged in productive labor, lacking the motivation to boost productivity. Even if slaves invented new techniques during labor, their illiteracy prevented them from recording and passing down such innovations in writing, let alone affording spare time to systematically organize, analyze, and conduct research. Marx's ideal was to build a communist society where everyone works according to their ability and receives goods according to their needs. His critiques of capitalism's inhumane exploitation of laborers spurred capitalist reforms, such as the introduction of welfare and the social security systems. Modern Europe, after long-term improvements, no longer resembles the brutally exploitative capitalism of the early era. Its social welfare system ranks among the world's finest, bearing strong similarities to socialist welfare institutions. Without Marx's exposure and criticism alongside ensuing social movements, capitalism would have lacked incentives for self-reform and would never have voluntarily surrendered maximal profits. This echoes Che Guevara's famous remark, "After we leave, they will build schools and hospitals for you. Raise your wages, not because their consciences have awakened, nor because they have become good people, but because we were here." Asterisk, the German ideology Times marks the maturation of Marx's philosophical thought and serves as the foundational work of historical materialism. The book bears immense significance not only for Marx himself, but also triggered a revolutionary breakthrough in the history of Western philosophy, genuinely transcending the thinking paradigm of traditional idealist philosophy. After Hegel constructed his idealist system, numerous philosophers sought to surpass him or forge new paths, including existentialists and analytic philosophers. Yet, only Marx's historical materialism achieved a genuine transcendence of Hegelian thought. Marx commenced his theoretical inquiry with historical outlook, rather than traditional ontology or epistemology driven by his mission to emancipate all mankind. Marx regarded human emancipation, freedom, and all-round development as the core themes of his philosophy. Human emancipation, the fundamental prerequisite, was never merely an ideological movement, but a historical social movement to be realized through analyzing social contradictions and historical laws via scientific approaches and relying on practical forces. Hence, Marx prioritized historical outlook, convinced that only by grasping historical laws could human emancipation and freedom be achieved in the real world. Marx's path to emancipation rests upon scientific analysis and social practice, breaking free from the paradigm of historical idealism. He argued that the philosophies of Kant and Hegel remained confined to theoretical, philosophical critique, merely offering divergent interpretations of the world without transforming reality. Marx proposed that genuine emancipation must follow a scientific developmental path, abandoning the old route of German rationalism and idealism. In early 19th century Europe, philosophy was closely intertwined with religion. Philosophers frequently studied God, the world, and the soul together, often taking God as the ultimate unshakable foundation of their ideological systems. Kantian and Hegelian rationalism dominated mainstream thought, regarding ideas and notions as the origin of the world, and exploring universal laws centered on the logos, a concept somewhat analogous to the Tao in Chinese. Taoism, section 2.6.4, similarities and differences between Laozi's Tao and ancient Greek logos. Although Kant constructed a rigorous philosophical system encompassing ontology and epistemology through his three critiques, he separated ideas from reality. Hegel reduced the history to the self-awareness of the absolute spirit, neglecting the practical significance of real life. Marx viewed Hegel's absolute spirit as a residual religious belief, namely the concept of God. In truth, Kant never left his hometown throughout his life, and Hegel spent most of his career in universities, both lacking hands-on social practice. Marx criticized Kant and Hegel for their theories being divorced from reality. In contrast, Marx deeply engaged in social practice and endured long-term poverty and displacement. Such experiences rendered him far more attentive to real-world transformation. Marx's life trajectory resembles that of Enlightenment thinker Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Both ushered in new eras through ideological innovation. Rousseau's ideas laid the groundwork for mainstream Western ideologies, while Marx's thought became the theoretical foundation of socialist nations, especially the Soviet Union and China. Marx was both a great thinker and a great practitioner. The reason his ideology took root and flourished in China lies largely in its alignment with Chinese philosophy's emphasis on practice. Thinkers ranging from Confucius, Mencius and Wang Yangming to Zheng Guofan and Mao Zedong all stressed the vital importance of integrating theory with practice, or the unity of knowledge and action. I am Wu Huaiyu, a PhD from the Chinese Academy of Sciences and a postdoctoral fellow from Peking University and a founder of AI philosophy. For more detailed information, please refer to the complete version of this book. In addition to this short video, you can also click on my avatar to view more long videos.